videos or something, I'll just kind of read your language if it's, because I have a lot of examples. Sometimes it's better to show rather than tell. So before I get started, I want to ask, how many of your guys' companies in here are represented on Facebook? Has a Facebook fan page? I would think just about everybody. How about Twitter? Are most of you guys, your companies active on Twitter? Now, how about individually? Do a lot of you guys use Facebook for your own personal lives? So those of you who use Facebook, why do you use it? Do you use it so you can be marketed a bunch of things from airlines and airports and clothing companies and restaurants? Or did you use it because you want to check out what your friends are doing, or kind of spy on that girl that was your sweetheart in high school, or whatever it might be? See if she ended up with worse off guy than you. But the point being, everybody's on Facebook now, everybody's on Twitter now. Actually, by the end of this year, there's a lot of studies that are saying that 99% of retailers in this country will be on Facebook and 91% on Twitter. So the point is, it's no longer about being on Facebook or on Twitter, it's what are you doing there? And how can you use that to actually add value to the user using it, that's using Twitter, but also drive your company's business goals. So today I want to talk to you about the 2 paradigm shifts in travel that are happening because of social media, and 3 ways that we can drive results, meaning customer engagement and ultimately revenues, by leveraging those social media things that are happening. I'm a little behind, sorry. So again, I'm Steve Klimek. I'm representing a company called Simplifying, and we help airlines and airports engage customers profitably. So what's that mean? We basically do a lot of consulting work with airlines and airports on social media, helping them with strategy, helping them with implementation. We actually started as a blog, which we still operate, so there's plenty of good information on that. We were really lucky, well, I shouldn't say lucky, but fortunate that Travel Weekly just awarded us #1 travel blog in the world, so we have a lot of good content that's free, and you guys should definitely check it out. My colleague and I are both certified airline and airport marketing instructors for IATA, so we do some of that training as well, and we speak at lots of these conferences. Our company is actually based in Singapore, but I'm actually from Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia, so D.C. suburbs, but I'm pretty much always on a plane, so you're more likely to find me there, somewhere, traveling, wherever. I brought some friends with me, so I'm going to quiz a few people in the room today. I saw a couple of Argentinian folks here. Anybody, or are we here? Okay. Recognize this guy? Juan Manuel, let me get out of your way. Does he look familiar? All right. How about Airbus guys? Do any of you guys recognize this guy, Randy? Does he look familiar? This one might be a stretch because I know that this is a little tough because these guys, most of you guys in this room are not working with like loyalty or with, this is actually Airbus training. But anyway, we're going to come back to this later. I'll explain why I brought these guys. Anybody from Tom, you guys? This guy look familiar? Have you ever seen him at the airport? Okay, well anyway, that's just something to quiz you. I want you guys thinking about why I'm showing you these people and who they are. And we'll come back to it later. Hopefully I won't forget. If I forget, you can ask me. So let's get started. 2 paradigm shifts in travel because of social media. The first one is that the cult is in. And what do I mean by that? It's not some crazy guy in a bar in Texas giving you interesting Kool-Aid or anything like that. But what I'm talking about is how you reach the masses of people. Do you remember when CRM used to be customer relationship management, probably 10 years ago, 5 years ago? Everybody in this room, your company probably has a CRM system, email lists, and all that. Well, I don't think it's really any more about the customer. It's about reaching the cult. Let me show you a video before I kind of explain this a little further. Have any of you guys seen this guy before? Nobody? All right. Oh, okay. Well, we have one. But you know what? Just check this out for a minute. Okay. I hear it a little bit out of here, but maybe. I think it's, okay, hold on.
It's a mess.
Okay, try this again.
Yeah, it's good.
Let me try this one more time.
You got to look around a bit. Yeah. So, where'd you go?
Sorry guys, I didn't know that the sound was not.
I spend most of my time.
Alright, so let's play this back from the beginning.
So, how'd you like New Zealand? Oh, I think she is taking away my breath. Her river, her mountains, her animal, I can't breathe. but I love her bush.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's good you got to look around a bit. Yeah. So, where'd you go? I spend most of my time beating off the track in many places.
Tasting pleasure, sir?
Awesome. Thank you. This is alive. All we need now is a nice kiwi bitch. Excuse me? You know, like lying around on a white sandy beach. Oh. You can feel her wind. She's blowing you.
So this is just one example that Air New Zealand did with this RICO campaign, and music stopped. When they launched this, they actually had something like 500,000 hits on YouTube within a few weeks. And I know a guy who works in pricing for Air New Zealand, and prior to the whole social era, if you wanted to reach 500,000 people with a message, with a new fare, with a new destination, you had to have 500,000 people in his CRM, customer relationship management database. And sure, with the CRM system, you can just click a button and the email goes out to everybody. But imagine the time and effort involved in reaching those 500, or collecting those 500,000 people's information. In this case, they didn't send this out to 500,000 people. They probably sent out a link to 50 or so. And those 50 sent it to 5,000, and those 5,000 became 500,000. So that's what I mean by cult. Has anybody in this room, is anybody going to take credit for maybe generating something that you did immediately generated maybe $1.5 million of revenue for your company? Can anybody say that? If you could, would you expect that your title is probably something higher than what it is now?
Probably.
Now how about if you did that in 10 seconds of work? Well, anybody familiar with this lady? I unfortunately probably yes. I'm not too thrilled about it. Well, she's holding a picture of me up speaking, which is kind of funny. But she actually, it was a big deal with, a big deal happened last year. She flew Emirates, and she flew first class on their A380, and she started tweeting about it. She tweeted a picture of the Emirates logo in the first class area and her suite and everything. And she ended up generating what people estimated as $1.5 million of free publicity for Emirates Airlines, and I guess that helps Airbus as well since it was 380, so had a couple of good effects on that. But point being, she's an example of the cult, reaching somebody who can reach everyone else for you, then you don't have to do all the work. So that's what I mean by my first point about the cult being in. Secondly, the traveler life cycle, let me catch up, is evolving. So let me tell you what airlines are good at right now. Every airline in this room, you're really good at booking. So if I want to fly, I go to your website, I can go to an OTA site, Expedia, Orbitz, anything like that, or I can go to the travel agency, and you're really good at taking my money. Okay, so as soon as I want to fly, no problem. You're even better at the flying part. So, you know, if I'm Felicidade on Tom, I know I have a priority check-in. I'm flying first class, business class, I know where to go. I should have put Tam on there. I know exactly where to go to my gate, no problem. You might have a priority lane for your frequent flyers. I know what I like on, you all know what I like on board, maybe even a free haircut if anybody wants to be innovative and start offering. That's actually me, I kind of have a different look now, but you probably know my meal preferences if I'm one of your key customers. I'm a priority customer, my bag comes out first, and I'm a happy camper. I'm enjoying my holiday, I'm off on vacation at the beach. This one is in Bali. But unfortunately, that's where it ends right now. Sure, that I might be in your traditional CRM system, so I might get an email 4 months later about the new destination that you're flying to. But as far as this particular trip goes, that experience, that engagement is over. I'm going to show you a video again. I have a lot of these, so just bear with me. But I want you to think about why I'm showing you this video, and then I'll explain why after. But check it out.
for work? Well, you may want to consider moving to Australia.
Australia's tourism bureau looking to fill what it is calling the best job in the world.
澳洲呢份工究竟有幾好咧？
Could this be your new office? Hamilton Island, off the coast of Queensland, needs a caretaker.
Duties include feeding ocean fish, cleaning a pool, and collecting deliveries of mail.
It comes with a rent-free 3-bedroom villa with plunge pool.
All this and a salary of about $8,800 a month. As you might imagine, the regional director says response to the ad has been overwhelming.
Apart from being a very clever way to publicise an extremely beautiful part of Australia, I think what this position reflects is a desire to say to the world, look, this is a wonderful place to come and travel to.
And all you have to do is write a weekly blog.
That can't be right.
There's no catch. This is a real job.
I'll be very good at it.
You'd have to remember to feed the fish.
Video applications, including one from the Vatican. All applicants have to do is submit a 60-second video to this website, islandreefjob.com.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm a police officer in England, you can tell by the silly hat.
I come from the ice tundra of the world.
It's really cold here in Connecticut, and I'd love to go to your paradise.
My dad was the great entertainer, Mr. Dean Martin.
Or do you think all we do is eat sausages and sauerkraut? Well, let me prove you wrong, because I'm definitely not one of them.
Yoo-hoo! Yoo-hoo! Here I am.
Here in the north of Sweden, the sea is covered with ice. So if you want to go snorkeling, you need an icebreaker.
So we're going to allow the public to vote for their favourite candidate. We'll pick another 10. We'll fly them across to Hamilton Island for a final interview and then pick the successful candidate.
It's very tempting.
You sign up for that one, huh?
Sounds like tough work there.
Watch the whales.
So if you're not here tomorrow.
They accepted me. I don't think so.
Australia.
Right.
Oh, man.
So that kind of had a double effect. First, I want to show you the example of probably the best social media campaign that's ever been run, according to a lot of reports. And you could see that it generated something like $80 million in publicity for Hamilton Islands. And what did it cost? You know, a few $1,000s to make, you know, whatever materials they did to hire the copywriters for Twitter or whatever. But then, you know, you pay the salary of $100,000 a year. But why did 1.4 million people apply for this job? Is it because your dream is to clean a fish tank and feed some fish and write a weekly blog post? Probably not. The whole point is that they instilled a dream in people's minds about the Hamilton Islands. You really want to go there, you have to see this place, it's beautiful, it's paradise. And so I think that when we're talking about a travel life cycle, it really starts at that point. It's not when I go to book, it's when I first get the inspiration that I want to go see Sao Paulo, I want to go see Paris, whatever it might be. So I think right now, we have to zoom out and start with that dream. And right now, airlines are not part of that touch point, except in a few cases that I'll get to later. I'll give you an example of how this works. So my parents, I'm pretty close to them. Sometime last year, they went on a cruise in Alaska. And I guess just at Labor Day, which is a holiday here, a few weeks ago, they had a little barbecue in our neighborhood, and the next door neighbors were all mingling. And my parents mentioned the Alaska cruise. And so the next door neighbor, a guy named Bill, his wife actually, Monica, was saying, oh, that sounds like a great idea, we should think about that sometime. And Bill's thinking, okay, sure, fine. But then he realizes, oh, it's the 20th anniversary coming up. That sounds like a great idea. Is that really what you want? So anyway, the point being, the dream has been implanted in their head. Once they have that dream, they're not just booking a ticket right away, they're researching. So they're using a lot of social media tools, things like Kayak, things like TripAdvisor, stuff like this to look at fares, look at packages, look at reviews of hotels, restaurants, things like that. So this is another touch point in this cycle that airlines are still not really leveraging the full power that they have to influence. So then of course we get to our booking, we get to our travel, and is that it? Still not it. Because what are people doing nowadays? Why is Facebook so popular? You're sharing. So when I travel, I'm sharing it. A few weeks ago I was actually in Singapore, and some of your airports may have this, where they have the public computer banks that anybody can use, usually like a group of 6 of them or something. Well, I actually had to send out an email for work, and my computer or something was acting up with it. So I was trying to get on one of these things, and I went to one bank, and 6 out of 6 people were on Facebook. I go to another one, like 5 out of 6 on Facebook, and one of them was shopping or something. Point being, you know, I'm thinking, you people do any work, you know, come on, I have business to do. But the fact is, they're all sharing. Nobody's Facebook profile picture is your passport photo, just kind of staring there with no smile. It's a picture of you in front of the palm tree or something like this. So You can laugh at my little, I couldn't find anything last night, so I went across the street this morning to the Coconut Grove sign to show that I'm in Miami. But anyway, that's the point. It's about sharing. So there's so many areas that airlines are not really touching right now when you just think about the booking and travel. And so what I want to try to get you to do is think about how you can become part of the other points of that cycle. So we have that the cult is in, and we have that the traveler life cycle is evolving. So what does it do for us? What does it mean for us? How are we going to drive results because of that and really impact our bottom line? This is example time. So I just have a lot of examples to give you. If they get a little tiring, just let me know. I can kind of skip through some of them. But they're all really good examples of some airlines that are really actively involved with this right now. You got to help them dream and share. So this is our first takeaway point. Because we mentioned that the traveler life cycle has zoomed out. It's not just the booking and the travel anymore. It's about the dreaming, it's about the planning, the validating, and the sharing. And so how can we get involved in that part of it? Anybody familiar with Jetstar here? It's mostly Asia, well, it's all Asia, Australia, so probably not as much with the Latin America crowd, but just a really good example of how you can help your audience dream, help your customers dream. They actually built a microsite through their Jetstar website, which is called Jetstar Stories. And what they do is they give away one free flight every single day to the best story that's submitted. And these are stories about the destinations that Jetstar flies to. So the point is, nobody, except maybe some crazy people out there, nobody thinks on their vacation that I have to go fly LAM. I have to go fly on American Airlines, no matter where it takes me. It's about they want to go see a destination. They want to go to a place that LAM can take them or American can take them. So what this does is it's really creating a lot of free content for Jetstar. Well, free in the sense, well, it's not free, they're giving away a flight, but with capacity control and all that, it's easy to figure out what seats are going to be empty anyway. So it's having their own customers create a lot of content and marketing and PR and all that sort of material, as well as creating something that inspires people to dream and think about where they'd like to go. And oh, by the way, Jetstar's logo is all over the page. So if I want to book Jetstar, it's really easy to do that. JetBlue does something kind of similar. They have what's called a True Blue community, and they're one of the more innovative social media companies, US airlines in social media. But they have this portal where they post a couple of feature cities with a nice postcard looking photo and all that. But then they have these message boards, and you can see these are customers instilling these dreams in other customers' minds, like pizza in New York, things like that. So it's about leveraging basically what I'm saying is a lot of your customers will do this work for you. It's just a matter of providing them an opportunity to do it. SAS Eurobonus. So any of you flown on Scandinavian by any chance? Very nice airline. So I guess the Airbus folks, you get around the world quite a bit. But are you a member of Eurobonus by any chance? I wouldn't think so, again, from this crowd. But they have a really innovative program for their frequent flyers. And so it's called Eurobonus, and what it does is when I log into my site, my account, so I can see how many miles I have, what my balance is, it actually already lays out for me 9 destinations that I'm eligible to fly to, which means I can literally just click, deduct my miles, and I'm off. They actually divide them into categories, so this one has solo, romance, and family. I don't understand, I don't know if you can read that, but they put Paris under solo, which seems like a mistake to me, but that's besides the point. But the point is that they're really making it easy to see, oh, I never thought about Paris before. Well, most people probably have, but oh, okay, I'd love to go to Paris. Secondly, they realize most people probably don't have 80,000 miles in their account. Most of your members of your frequent flyer program probably have taken 1 or 2 trips on you before. So what they do is they have an option where you can allow it to show you destinations that are beyond your reach. So you might want to go to Tokyo, for example, something like that. And even though you only have 20,000 miles, you need 60,000 miles. It shows you basically exactly what your shortcoming is. It shows you an easy link to the booking engine so you can figure out how to get to that point that you want to get to. So again, it's about creating a goal in your mind. And maybe next time you look to fly and the ticket on SAS is $10 or $20 more than the other airline, you might pay it because you've already thought, oh, I have to get up to my 50,000 miles. Next, they use, for each of these destinations, if you click on it, they actually take content from free travel blog types of sites. So like, I think this one is from TripAdvisor. So they're actually sourcing content for free that they can just take from a line of source code. And it's allowing the customers to publicize the destination for them. So again, this is taking none of your marketing department's energy. They're not having to write anything about how great Helsinki is. And it's also more...
and surprised. Armed with our social media toolkit, our little experiment began. First job. Find KLM passengers who had checked into their flight via one of KLM's Foursquare locations or left a message through Twitter. Second job. Search their social profiles, get to know them in a discreet manner, to think of a personalized gift.
Ja, dat is een goeie.
Nothing fancy, like a house or a sports car. Just small stuff. Carry-on size stuff. Third job, hunt them down and deliver the gift. Fourth job,
F9, Abu Dhabi.
repeat steps 1 and 2 until either success is achieved, boredom sets in, or blisters need to be treated.
Abu Dhabi zat niet aan boord. Ik moest ook door de security heen en zo. Die zit niet op de vlucht. Omdat zij een heel sportief iemand is en een weekend Rome gaat doen, dan is het misschien leuk als we haar zo'n Nike Plus bandje geven.
Are you guys able to read this with the... that usually doesn't come up, that status thing. I think it's because I had to manually change the earlier one, so now it's coming up on all the videos. Can you still read it?
No, go ahead.
Is it okay? Because otherwise I can actually just close the presentation, just reopen it, and it'll go away. But okay, I'll just roll with it. But let me know if you have trouble reading.
Dan heb je dat niet nodig.
Nina Bommel.
100% zeker dat het er is, want ze kreeg net een bericht, denk ik. Behoorlijk aan KLM.
Goedemiddag. En je liet ons weten via Twitter dat je met ons reist vandaag. Dus we hebben een kleinigheidje voor je gekocht.
Nou, wat leuk.
Om je een hele fijn weekend is het geloof ik, hè?
Ja, weekend.
Fijn weekend te wensen. En omdat je sportief bent kun je daar de afstand meten en hoe lang je erover doet.
Hartstikke leuk. Maar Twitter, ik moet wel eens...
Gelukkig hebben we je gevonden. Hoi.
Hoi.
Dag. Pim, je hebt laten weten dat je met ons vliegt vandaag naar Washington.
Ja, dat klopt.
Dus we willen je verrassen met iets, een kleine aardigheid. Je bent als van je iPad bestuurd, toch? Dus we hebben een goedbon voor je van €15 om apps te downloaden.
Dat is leuk, dankjewel.
Tot ziens.
Nou, hij is in zijn Twitter staat: in Mexico huisjes bouwen voor daklozen op initiatief van Hoopland.
Pleisters, middelgam, of weet je, of hoe heet dat spul van tegen...
Ja, Sven.
E24, vlucht KL 07380.
Meneer heet Medebok, hè?
Ja, zo heet het.
Natuurlijk wel even kijken op mijn iPhone. Kijk, ga die meneer even opzoeken. Ik heb zo'n klein fotootje.
En meneer de Bok, zoekt u die?
Ja.
Die zou er moeten zijn.
Hij gaat huisjes bouwen in Mexico. U reist vandaag met ons naar Mexico?
Ja, dat klopt.
Nu gaat hij iets moois doen, of niet?
Ja, dat klopt.
Heel eerlijk, via Twitter heeft u een berichtje gestuurd dat u op Schiphol was en dat u met ons naar Mexico vloog. Alsjeblieft. Voor wat energie en wat verzorging. Een hele fijne reis.
Ja, bedankt.
Een mooie reis. Hallo. U bent meneer Breudman.
Ja.
Dag meneer Luisberg. Dat ben ik. Bent u mevrouw Bergen, mevrouw Sonar? Hallo. U gaat vandaag naar congres op zoek naar nieuwe verbindingen, wat waarschijnlijk ook wel over social media gaat.
Ja.
U heeft vandaag via Twitter laten weten dat u met ons reist naar Cairo. En dat vonden we in dat verband zo leuk dat we u een kleine verrassing willen aanbieden. Dus bij deze hopen dat u een hele fijne reis heeft. Het is een bioscoopbol voor de social network.
Die wil ik graag zien.
We wensen u een hele fijne reis, een inspirerend congres. We kregen een berichtje van uw buurman en we dachten wat leuk, want hij zei, nou mijn buurvrouw is echt een voorbeeld, want ze is al een beetje op leeftijd en ze reist nog zoveel. We hebben een klein cadeautje voor u en we hebben ervoor gezorgd dat u een stoel met extra beenruimte, economy comfort heet dat, voor u op de heen- en op de terugweg hebben geboekt. Dus dan zit u wat ruimer.
Ik vind dit gewoon fijn.
Ja? Ja. Goedemiddag, ben jij Eefke? Niet schrikken. Hoi. Ben je klaar voor New York? Ja. Je liet via Twitter weten dat je naar New York ging. We hebben gewoon iets kleins voor je, een kleine rijtje. Niet schrikken hoor.
Super, dankjewel. Ik zal daar meteen even twitteren.
After several weeks of handing out little gifts, a few things became apparent. In the age of social media, doing something that creates a real smile on somebody's face is much cooler than attaching a smiley face. But most important, it seemed that indeed an airline could use social media to both surprise and make a small difference to a passenger's day. And we're not just guessing that. We know, because they told us. And their friends. Massively.
So just a funny side note of that, actually, one of the research papers I've done, I tried to reach out to some of those people that were featured in that video via Twitter, just to see what they actually felt about it, if they thought maybe it was intrusive or something like that. And everyone was very happy with it, but the one guy that did not tweet about it, so I could not find him, was this one guy that they showed, Ahmed Dubak, who was going to Mexico to build houses, and I was wondering why. And it turns out that they actually spelled his name wrong on the video, so I'm wondering if he was kind of angry about that or something. But so you still have to pay attention to the details. But the point is, something like that, I won't argue that it's necessarily sustainable. I mean, something like that, you could create too much of an expectation that, hey, I tweeted and I didn't get a gift, what's wrong? But I think that with an airline like KLM, they actually have 22 full-time staff as of about a month ago on social media alone. So they really have the resources behind it. So they're pretty innovative with this. I just wanted to show that example. And one of these I really liked was in that, in the video they showed giving somebody a New York City guide. Well, there was another passenger named Willem, I guess, who was going to New York. And in his tweet message, he tweeted that he was going to miss the football game. So if you know the Dutch league, the Ajax is one of the popular teams from Amsterdam. And he was saying that he would miss watching the matches while he was in New York. So while they gave him the New York City guide, they actually, oops, I'm getting ahead of myself. They actually highlighted every single restaurant that was in the guidebook that would show football matches, so he knew exactly where to go. So something, just a little thing with a personal touch that really makes the customers happy. Another thing KLM does on the sharing bit is if you go to their Facebook page, I'm not sure if they're still doing it as of this week, but you can actually get a free customized luggage tag. So you can upload your own picture, your kid's picture, your dog's picture, whatever you want to put on there, and they'll send you an actual luggage tag with the KLM logo on it, with your photo. And so what this is doing is, at minimal expense to them, they're creating a bunch of brand ambassadors walking through the airport dragging their luggage with KLM tags. So it's just about thinking about ways that you can really add something of value that encourages people to start doing an action that benefits your airline. Another thing, I'll kind of get away from these help them dream and share examples pretty soon, but a couple more that I wanted to show you. There's a program called Flip2. It's actually just a line of code, so flip.to. And what you can do is insert this into your booking path. And this is an example from LAN, so some of you guys may be familiar with this already. But what it does is after you've already booked your flight, so you've received the credit card payment, the flight's booked, right before the next step, the confirmation, they actually give you an option where you can earn something like 500 miles or whatever it might be by sharing it. And so what this will do is you click a button and it automatically broadcasts that you're traveling on LAN to Santiago on your Twitter, it's on your Facebook, and that sort of thing. So again, it's minimal expense to the airline, but it's really allowing people to share very easily. Pluna does this as well, where you can, I guess, you receive 5 fly dollars, which I think you can actually spend on the flight. I'm not 100% sure about that, but then it also actually will broadcast you on the website. So look, you can go randomly and it shows Brian Ken is soon to be traveling to Montevideo, and you can actually earn the same amount of fly dollars by signing up your name and email address. So it's just about another creative way that you can encourage the sharing. Alternatively, besides the sharing part, you can really just do something disruptive. If you want to get people to share, besides really making it easy for them, like the example I just gave you, you do something different, you do something out of the box, and people are going to be talking about it. And this is probably better suited to the KLM Surprises example, because it's such a new thing that people really wanted to share it. Has anybody seen this slide before? Maybe some of the Airbus folks. No? If I was to ask you where you would just take a wild guess where it might be, do I have any guesses?
Malaysia?
Where though? I mean, are we thinking shopping mall?
Shopping mall.
Yeah, my guess would be a shopping mall, and I would have guessed Dubai as well. This is actually in Changi Airport in Singapore. The newest terminal they have there. They built 2 slides that are actually for adults. One of them is 4 stories, one of them is 1 story. And you can pay actually $5 and you can go down the slide. Or it's something where if you spend like $20 in the airport retail, you get a voucher to go down the slide. So what did this do? I mean, initially you're thinking, what's the point of it? But they actually got a whole lot of buzz on a lot of travel blogs and websites, and not only just travel blogs and websites, but there was actually even one, they were featured in some aluminum industry newsletter because of the quality of the aluminum in the slide construction. So the point being, they just did something really innovative and really different outside the box, and they created a lot of buzz from it. If an airline would leverage this one step further, I think if none of you guys are focused on Asia in the room, but I think it would be a great idea to maybe sponsor a couple of little hat cameras that you can give to each person that goes down, and then they get to the bottom and there's a bank of computers and they can upload their video right away to YouTube with your logo on there or something. But point being, it's about doing something different. Airports as well. Has anybody seen this program live at YVR? It's a thing that Vancouver Airport was doing, and they're already really highly regarded in North America as one of the better airports. But they had a contest where for 80 days, the winner would actually live in the airport. And no, that's not the luggage hold. They actually have a nice Fairmont hotel on the grounds. But he basically would just report about a new aspect of the airport every day and put it up on the website. So I'll show you just one example from probably better just to show you an example of what he's working on.
Hello everybody, I'm in the engine of a Boeing 747.
Maybe not, I'm just in my closet right now. Along with 25 Hawaiian t-shirts. So thank you everybody for donating Hawaiian shirts for me. For those of you who don't know, I started wearing Hawaiian shirts to kind of set myself apart, and I also want people to be able to approach me and say, hey Jagger! And that's kind of how it started. Now I got 25 shirts, so thank you very much. This is day 40, so I'm basically halfway through my experience here at YVR. And aside from this totally amazing view here, one of the coolest things about the airport is all the people that work here. I've made some amazing friends. There are a tremendous amount of people that have dedicated their lives to this airport. Like I'm talking like they've worked here for 25 plus years, 20 years. And these people have such interesting jobs. There are people that load cargo onto airports. They're pilots. Where did you get those socks from? Did your girlfriend buy you or your wife buy you?
There's mechanics, there's people that change light bulb.
So tonight we've got this guy here that's, that living here for 80 days. He's going to hang out with our crew, so take it easy on him. This is the guy here.
There's people that clean up the runway to make sure the runway's safe. There's so many different aspects to this airport. It is truly its own world out here. And it takes all sorts of people to make it run. So one of my favorite experiences has been getting to know the workers as well as the travelers. I finally feel like I have a grasp on things here at YVR. It's my computer right there. It's taken a while, I'm not joking you. It's been a huge learning curve. Like, how do you go to a job and just start reporting on it? Like, you have to kind of know some of the details. So in order to give you guys the proper message, I've had to really kind of get to know the job, get to know the airport, what it's about, how it's run, and who makes it run. So over the last few days, you can kind of see my calendar has been pretty booked up, non-stop. It definitely helps to have this nice, cozy bed here. But as you know, guys, I mean, it comes with the territory, right? I'm here on assignment. And to be honest, it's one of these opportunities that, like, you don't want to let go. So, although I'm tired, it's really important, for me to, embrace this moment, to cherish it. Anyways, thanks for joining me tonight. Day 40, halfway through. Thanks for all your support, guys. Bye for now. I'm gonna get back to editing.
So it's not about this guy Jager, whatever his name is. The idea is that every airline, every airport, people are interested in this industry. There's lots of stories that you can share and get people to tell for you. And just thinking about innovative ways to encourage them to do that. And this generated a huge following online. So again, helping them dream and share, that's the first big thing that we want to take away. Secondly, because the cult is in, as we've gone over, and we want to drive results because of that, we have to go where the cult hangs out. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Anybody familiar with this cafe who's been to Buenos Aires? You ever seen this one? So, for those of you who don't know, this is a cafe. I've never been to Buenos Aires, and yet I know this cafe, and now everyone else in this room does too, which already says something about how effective they've been in terms of social media. But it's a cafe called Urban Station, and I guess it opened a few years ago. When they opened, the owners were looking at the business model and trying to figure out how do we differentiate ourselves from other coffee shops. And what they found was that the clientele that they go for is not necessarily so interested in the coffee, but they go there as a place to hang out, socialize, and most importantly, use the internet. So these are people who may work independently, So what they did is rather than charging for coffee, they decided to charge every single person who came in something like 40 pesos for entry. And that includes the Wi-Fi, it includes your place to sit, your power station, and you get coffee and small snacks for free. So you can actually stay there as long as you want, but they actually have time slots booked. And nowadays this thing is booked like 2-3 months ahead of time. And companies will go there and plan meetings there and bring 7 or 8 people that are spending, you know, $10, 40 pesos, whatever each. And it generates a very good revenue stream for the company. So it's about flipping their business model on its head to figure out what the people that they want to attract are doing and how you best relate with those people. This would very easily apply to Facebook booking, which is a big thing in the past year or so. Delta was the first airline to offer this. So they embedded their internet booking engine straight onto their Facebook page. So you don't have to leave Facebook and go to another website, go to delta.com. Actually, the good stat to take away is that most people who travel search 20 independent sites before they make a booking. And that's over 9 visits. So nobody's just, oh, I need to fly, delta.com, book. But if I'm already on Facebook and it's there easily for me, and you know they have something like 37, however many thousand people on there that like their page, so it just makes it very easy for them, a big opportunity for sales. Now, aside from just placing it on Facebook, this particular one wasn't necessarily very innovative. I guess I'm a tough audience saying that the first to do something was not very innovative. But if you look at what Malaysia Airlines then did a few months after Delta did, Delta had the Facebook booking, they implemented this program called MH Buddy. And this is also linked to their Facebook. It's through their Facebook page. But what it does is it actually goes into your friends list. And again, this is all opt-in, so they can't just stalk you or anything. You opt into it, but if you do opt in, and you book a ticket through this MH Buddy platform, it will tell you any of your friends on your entire Facebook list that are maybe flying on the same flight as you. And then it'll tell you what seat they're in, so you can book the seat next to them. Or you can, if it's somebody you really don't like, you can change your flight and try to get on a different one, something like that. But the point being is they're leveraging the value of Facebook, which is the social interaction. And they're tying that together with the actual business revenue driver, which is the booking engine. Alaska Airlines did a really good platform as well for this, in that it's a little different. It's not so much a booking engine, but they have a program called Flying Social, and what it does is this goes on your Facebook page, and it will show you of all your friends on your list exactly where they live on a map. It'll show their picture, and it'll show the fare that they offer, the cheapest fare available to that destination if it's one of the destinations that they fly to. So again, thinking about ways to tie what the value of Facebook or Twitter or these types of things are to your business goal, which is booking tickets. This one is another one that I didn't really know exactly where to place it, but I just wanted to share it quickly. Emirates Airlines they were trying to attract a little more of the artistic community, which is a big growing community in Dubai and very profitable. They have a lot of art shows and that sort of thing. So to design their actual cards for it's called Skywards, their loyalty program, the actual card that you get in your wallet because you're a member, they actually did an open source competition amongst artists where they could submit designs that the winner would be selected to be on the card. And then the 10 runners-up actually get their artwork displayed throughout the airport terminals and throughout the Emirates headquarters. So this created a really big buzz within that artistic community, and it also got them a free design for their card. Another example of going where this cult hangs out, Virgin America is it's probably, besides JetBlue, this is probably the most innovative US carrier with social media. And they started flying, they're based in San Francisco, but they also they have a hub in Los Angeles, and they started flights from both places to Toronto last year. And when they launched, most airlines, when you do a launch, you're inviting press, you're inviting maybe top travel agents, whoever in that city. But what they did is they actually didn't send any formal invitations. They did everything through Twitter. And so they actually sent out a tweet and said, if you're one of the most influential tweeters in Toronto, you're invited to our opening kickoff gala, which actually featured Richard Branson. He actually came over for it. So the idea is, how do you measure this? Well, there actually is a program called Clout, which you can go to the website, it's K-L-O-U-T, but it actually does measure someone's influence on Twitter. So it takes into account, I mean, of course the formula is probably measuring the number of followers they have, how active they are on Twitter, and who their followers are, whether people are retweeting what they're saying, what their messages are. But if you had a certain score above a certain level, you were invited to this thing. And if you were one of the top 10, you actually were invited to fly on that first flight from Toronto to San Francisco or Los Angeles. And Virgin America happens to offer Wi-Fi on board, so what are these people doing? They're tweeting while they're on board. I'm on the first Virgin America flight from Toronto. And again, because they're the most influential on Twitter, that message is going out to lots of people. Not to mention the fact that while they're meeting Richard Branson and taking a photo with them, that's going on into the whole Twitter sphere right away, immediately. It's about sharing right now. Another video for you guys.
We're heading to Lake Tahoe. It's the last minute from the book. That hotel in free fall.
Reservation for Mr. J.T. Holmes, please.
Woo! Landing was a bit of a doozy.
Let me check our system. Get that reservation for Mr. Holmes.
You got it?
No way, we got it!
Oh,
yeah!
Stop that.
Nailed it.
So remember what I said earlier about it's not just about being on social media, it's about tying it to a goal, tying it to a business goal, which in most cases is driving revenue. Well, the thing about this, I think the downside of it is that it was for Hotels.com, and I don't think they displayed that prominently enough, because when I first watched this, I didn't even know who it was for. But Hotels.com, their whole tagline, their whole marketing strategy is built around the fact saying they're the fastest booking engine for hotels. So this is a viral video that did in fact go viral, people circulated it, but what did it also do? It sends the message that, hey, Hotels.com books really fast, you can do it while you're skydiving. So this is about a great example of how you actually had, Hotels.com had a business goal that they wanted to communicate or wanted to achieve, and they chose the tool to fit that rather than just participating on these different channels just for the sake of participating. So again, to drive results, the second thing we want to do is go where the call hangs out. Lastly, we don't want to look like this guy. So, head stuck in the sand. And the fact is, these cult types of people that we want to have on our side, they change very quickly. They get bored easily, short attention span. They're probably on to the next thing while you're still discovering the thing of right now. And so we have to change with them. We have to really know where they're thinking and where they're going to keep them on our side. Has anybody, I'm sure everybody use these things every day, the crosswalks, zebra stripes, but how many of you actually, when you're going to cross the street, you're actually sitting here, direct right angles, making sure you're not walking on the street? Of course not, you're walking here, you're walking at an angle. South Korea, this is what they've started to do. So the whole idea being that they're changing. They're seeing how people's behaviors are and they're changing with it. Of course, it's not airline related, but I thought it was a very good, simple description. Airline related, were any familiar last year with this AA-24 flight? It was a potential terrorist situation. It was a flight between New York and San Francisco to New York, I think. And they actually had a bomb threat. Somebody had called in a bomb threat on board, and so they had a whole investigation while the passengers were still on the aircraft. It was before it took off, so it was just sitting on the tarmac, and they sent a bunch of investigators and all this onto the plane. Well, American was in a tough situation because while there's an official investigation going on, you can't start giving out facts that may or may not be true, so they couldn't really comment from a PR standpoint while this whole thing was going on. But do you think that CNN or CNBC or all that really wants to wait for the investigation to conclude so then American issues an official PR statement of what exactly happened? Of course not. They want to be the first to break the story. So who happened to be on this flight? These two people, one named Jay and one named Campbell, were tweeting. Every 3 or 4 minutes they were tweeting about what's going on because nobody knew at the time. You're sitting on the plane, you know you're not getting to New York, and you see people starting to come on board, you see some panic setting in, and you can actually see what they're saying. It's every 2 or 3 minutes. Black and white police car on right side of aircraft. Captain just asked us for our patience. Captain says 6 law enforcement officials will board the plane, take us off 2 by 2. So the point being that this is actually news. In the absence of any more credible source, Twitter has become a news source. And so CNBC was actually, while this whole thing was going on, showing these tweets on their coverage. So what American did is they started actually engaging these people. Rather than just sitting by doing nothing, they started tweeting these people, giving them recognition, so you can see, speaking to them directly. This one down here says @CN McKellar, which is this Campbell woman. Hang in there, the authorities are taking care of things, correcting facts that were correct. It was never a hostage situation, it was a phoned-in security threat. So they were sharing what they could know, and they could say definitively while this was going on, and really engaging these people. And they ended up getting quite a bit of circulation throughout the Twitter world because of their activity with this. And so the idea is they didn't just wait until, okay, well, we've issued our PR statement, now that the investigation is concluded. They really saw the people that were starting to speak up about it, and they made sure that they got them on their side. Good one here.
All right, one more time. Name is Staff Sergeant Frederick Gilbert, United States Army. It's June 7th, Tuesday, approximately 7:15 a.m. Flying from Baltimore, Maryland on Delta Airlines flight 1625. Yeah, 1625 from Baltimore to Atlanta, Georgia, on our way back to Fort Polk, Louisiana. Just returned from Afghanistan yesterday. We're on our way to Atlanta after an 18-hour layover. We had a little issue with the bags this morning, and I thought that I would let another soldier explain a little bit of what happened this morning. So, if you don't mind, here you go. All right, Sergeant, go ahead and explain what happened.
My name's Staff Sergeant Robert here, and United States Army. Got to the airport this morning to start boarding the plane, get everything going, and we showed up and found out that we had too many bags.
What do you mean? What do you mean too many bags?
Well, we had 4 bags. The Delta airline only allows 3 bags. Anything over 3 bags you have to pay for. You know there's a contract between the United States government and Delta Airlines when returning from Afghanistan on military orders. They're authorized up to 4 bags.
So you're saying that our military travel orders authorized us to carry 4 bags, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. So what happened to the soldiers that actually had 4 bags?
We had actually ended up paying out of pocket our own money to allow that 4th bag to be taken.
How much you paid?
$200.
All right, so
bag.
How much did our unit ended up paying out of pocket?
Over $2,800, and there's only 34 of us soldiers.
So our unit paid over $2,800 for a 4th bag that our travel orders actually authorized.
That's correct.
All right, what was that 4th bag for you?
For me, it was a weapons case holding my M4, 203 grenade launcher, and 9mm. The tools that I used to protect myself and Afghan citizens while I was deployed in the country.
So you're telling me that you paid over $200, or $200 for your 4th bag that was actually your weapons?
That is correct.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries.
Good business model, Delta. Thank you. We're actually happy to be back to America. God bless America. Not happy. Not happy at all. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you think people actually take that seriously? Yes, no, maybe. This thing had something, it was in the millions in terms of circulation immediately. It became a huge PR crisis for Delta Airlines. And Delta, to their credit, they actually responded as best they could. Obviously, you know, something like that, I'm sure you're aware, you can't always foresee what's going to happen in any situation. So you have a policy in place, you can't always have foresight of what could possibly go wrong. But Delta actually responded immediately through all of their social channels. This was an article about through their blog, which they also circulated through Twitter, through Facebook. They immediately changed their baggage policy, and they made it clear, they publicized it. So they actually did a pretty good job with the whole crisis management thing. But that video alone, that video that looks like any of us just were sitting on the plane doing it, several million impressions on the U.S. aviation market. An example of an airline that hasn't done such a good job is that this is kind of funny too, so maybe it can wake you guys up a little before lunch.
I flew United Airlines on my way to Nebraska. The plane departed Halifax, connecting in Chicago's O'Hare. While on the ground, the passenger said from the seat behind me, "My God, they're throwing guitars out there." The band and I exchanged a look, best described as terror, at the action on the tarmac, and knowing whose projectiles these would be. So before I left Chicago, I alerted 3 employees who showed complete indifference towards me. United, United, you broke my Taylor guitar. United, some big help you are. You broke it, you should fix it. Your life just ended. I should have flown with someone else or gone by car. 'Cause United breaks guitar.
So that's like 5 minutes long, so I won't go all of it. But if you actually go and look at this right now on YouTube, just Google United Breaks Guitars YouTube, you'll see 10 million views for this video.
Steve, that's an individual. That's really
Yep.
one going through and
Yep.
he broke his guitar.
One guy, 10 million views from YouTube. So, you know, it really becomes a matter of what's the cost of not being prepared for these types of things? What's the cost of not being involved in social media, or at least aware of what's going on with social media? Because it's, if you were to ask a United marketing person a year ago that, oh, well, what are the odds that somebody's going to make a video of a silly country song and it's going to get 10 million views? Of course, they're going to laugh in your face. So it's really, this is the new reality we're in. One more video. This one's a little more funny. So this is, I'm almost done with the videos, but this is just a good kind of summary of what I've been talking about as far as changing with the cult. And you may know this clip.
I'm sorry, we're only boarding rows 9 and above right now. You'll have to wait.
I'm in row 8.
Please step aside, sir.
Just one row. It's okay.
We'll call your room momentarily. Step aside, sir. Thank you for waiting. We'd like to continue boarding the aircraft now. We're now boarding all rows, please. All remaining rows. Enjoy your flight.
Unfortunately, this is the reality of flying in this country anyway. But let's go back 5 years. If you're responsible for this employee, you're her manager. Let's see, you go through the checklist. Was she courteous with the customer? She was smiling the whole time. She was pleasant. Was she enforcing the rules? Was she making sure that nobody was getting around the rules even though they pressured her? I mean, check, 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 check. She's probably getting a promotion. Perfect employee. She's doing everything right, everything we ask her to do. But if you do this today, chances are the minute that guy gets on the plane, you're dead, because he's going to be tweeting this and publicizing it to the whole world. If you don't have Wi-Fi on board, maybe as soon as he lands, it's going out to the world. But the point is that you can actually, another good takeaway, on any, we've done some studies that show if any aircraft, maybe an Airbus 320 full with 150 passengers, you can estimate that at least 5 people are using Twitter as that thing. Not everyone's turning off their phone when they say to turn off the phone when you're taxiing. But the point is that there are people really broadcasting every single flight that goes up in the air live. And so when you you have to really take that into account in terms of setting your policies and how you're going to react to things like this. So we got to change with the cult. I'm getting close to the end here. So we've seen the cult is in, we've seen how the traveler life cycle is evolving, and now we're coming back to these guys that I asked about earlier. This guy, Juan Manuel, is actually the mayor on Foursquare. Is anyone familiar with Foursquare? So for those of you who aren't, basically this it's a social network where it's location based. So right now I could check out my Foursquare app and it will find the Sonesta Bayfront Hotel and I can check in, which really is just to publicize to my friends maybe where I am. But you're really broadcasting your brand choice to the world. You're broadcasting your location, exactly what you're doing. And if you check in more times at any location than anywhere else, you become the mayor, which gives you a badge and all this sort of thing. It's, again, 5 years ago we would have thought this stuff was all silly, but people take this very seriously now. And so this guy, Juan Manuel, is the mayor of Ezeiza Airport. So that's why I was going to ask if any of the guys from there had ever seen him around, which means he's there a lot. You can actually learn, look at all this information. I've never met this guy. But look at what I can learn about him just by looking at this profile. I can see the kinds of things he's interested in through these badges. I can see that he likes to go to Bar de Picadas. I can see that he obviously is interested in Chicago. He has a badge for the Windy City and Windy City here. I can see all the places that he's the mayor of, which means I can see where this guy spends all his time. And so if this is somebody who, again, this would be better suited for somebody who's in charge of the loyalty, but if this is a guy that we really want to have on our side, and as a brand ambassador, it's very easy to figure out where he's spending his time. And so the other two, the Randy guy was the mayor of the Airbus Training Center in Miami. So I guess that's, with 55,000 employees, I wouldn't expect you guys to know everybody, but I found the mayor of the Airbus Training Center, and that was this guy with the guitar. And then the last guy, the Adil guy, Adil, probably say the name wrong, he was the mayor of the Guarulhos Airport, so I guess he checks in there quite a bit. And actually I lied, this guy's not the mayor of Ezeiza, he's the mayor of the Aerolíneas Argentinas Lounge, for premium lounge there, so I guess he is a frequent customer. So the point being that these are examples of how we can get to know these people that are important to us without really any effort on our part. So, in sum, I've talked a lot about this cult, what I meant by this cult. And again, airlines right now are really good with the customers, the traditional customer relationship management side. If I ask any of your loyalty program managers to tell me who are my top 500 customers between Miami and Santiago or whatever it might be, he can probably give me that information in 10 seconds. Give me their email addresses, their phone numbers, tell me exactly who they are. But if I was to ask your e-commerce marketing manager, of your top 50,000 fans on Facebook or 20,000 fans on Facebook, how many of them have actually flown on your airline within the past 3 months, the past 6 months? Probably get a lot of blank stares. And so what we want to do is really try to overlap those two. Use a lot of these social networks to overlap the traditional customer and our loyal customers with this cult. So understanding who's the active ones, who become our voice outside of our own marketing department. So again, this is where we want to get to. It's no longer about connecting with our individual customers, it's about connecting with the cult. And then those people end up connecting with our customers for us. So this is one good example I want to show you just in conclusion is a small airline, which is also from the Southern Hemisphere, so there's some comparisons. Again, it's not Latin America, but could be some inspiration for some of you guys to take home with you. And it's just a good example of an airline that's really doing a great job with this. And I previewed them earlier with the Rico thing, but Air New Zealand has done quite a bit more, so just check this video
When
out.
you're a little airline from the bottom of the world, you have to throw out the marketing rulebook if you want to get noticed on the international stage. But when your new aircraft are turning heads around the world, and your customer service sets the standard for the industry, you can be sure people in New Zealand hear about their national airline through PR and local media. So how do we export the Air New Zealand brand overseas? In true Kiwi style, we think differently. Instead of relying on traditional media, like much of our industry, Air New Zealand has embraced the global reach of social media and delivered a series of king hits. Our online videos have racked up millions of views and got the world's media, aviation, and marketing industries talking. They grab attention, give people a laugh, and play a huge role in supporting our primary brand messaging. Fit to Fly, an airline safety video starring workout legend Richard Simmons, has become a YouTube sensation, and with a smart seat climbing. Over 2 million views on YouTube, and a string of YouTube honors. 1 million views on the Chinese equivalent, Youku. Appearances on major mainstream websites. Nearly 125 million media impressions in the UK alone. More than 340 million in the US, including coverage on the 4 main TV networks. For a small airline in a country of just 4.5 million people, it represents a seemingly unbelievable degree of international reach. Like Richard, you could call our next brand ambassador a little unconventional. We teamed international rap superstar Snoop Dogg with our free-spirited puppet Rico to record the track Hello Sunshine. This online video may not push product or service or ticket prices, but it does sell the Air New Zealand brand personality to the world. It's big on YouTube with over 500,000 views and a massive level of engagement. It's earned 55 international YouTube honours, including being the #1 top-ranked video in New Zealand the day after launch. It's featured on Snoop Dogg's own Facebook page, which has over 11 million fans. It's been tweeted by major TV stars like Kim Kardashian. It's been featured on TV news, hip-hop, entertainment and advertising blogs, in US magazines, and has got people talking from Heathrow to the Hollywood Hills. Talking is what Rico loves to do most. So for his latest series of online videos, On the Sky Couch with Rico, we introduce our furry friend to international celebrities, David Hasselhoff and Lindsay Lohan. Part chat show, part therapy session, these videos, and the stars for that matter, never take themselves too seriously. So far, our Rico videos have been viewed almost 4 million times on YouTube and on Youku in China, with incredible engagement. They've earned 78 international YouTube honours, with the Lindsay Lohan video ranking the most popular in the comedy category. And they've been covered on the world's most influential entertainment, advertising and marketing websites. It seems Rico's popularity is well and truly on the up. Just take a look at what we've achieved on Facebook. In less than a month, the Winner Rico soft toy promotion saw likes on the page double to 44,000, placing Rico ahead of many other popular brands. Our bold experiment with social media and online video has proved that in the modern marketing world, the old rules are breaking down. Impact and reach are no longer based on how big your budget is. They're driven by personality, energy, and a commitment to doing things in a fresh and fun way. Air New Zealand's online marketing strategy is making waves around the world and has even been rewarded at the Airline Strategy Awards in London. Proof that even for a small airline from the bottom of the world, in the digital media age, the sky really is the limit.
So again, I'm not pushing Air New Zealand or anything, but I just want to give you an example of an airline that might be similar to some that are in the room and what they've done and the kind of recognition they've achieved. So that's all I have for today. It's not so many examples from Latin America because they're just not quite as active yet, but I'd actually like to get some of your perspectives on that. You guys know a lot more your market than I do, so I'd love to hear if there are different things that any of your airlines are doing. We can create more of a dialogue now or any question and answer session. Anything like that. So, and I'll be here through lunch. I'd like to talk to any of you if you have any questions with me, about me, or anything like that. So, thank you very much for your attention. I know it was long, but thanks for bearing with me.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are there numbers in the industry? Because, I mean, obviously there are a lot of views on Google, for example, of the video we saw United Brake Guitars. Do you have statistics of how that affects the business, actually?
That's obviously we're working on developing some things like that, what we're calling, I can't think of the name of it, the social, we actually have some platforms that we're working with other companies and developing to actually measure the monetary impact, but as of yet, there's no real accurate way to do that. It's a good question.
Any more questions for the break to lunch? Yes?
Have you seen any example that has some positive impact? Because most of these are like either negative complaints or some kind of branding, marketing effect, but at the end of the day we see that most passengers tend to choose their airline rather by, I don't know, seat comfort, passenger, the frequent flyer program. Like very few people would choose it based on the character that appears on a YouTube video. So I mean, it's great, but I still don't see how an airline can make profit from this.
Well, yeah, the Air New Zealand one, if you watch some of the other ones, they actually do have a message behind it. So they're big, a lot of what they're pushing with that is their Sky Couch, which is in the economy class, they have, I don't know if you're familiar, you can kind of push 2 seats together or something like that, but you can essentially take the 3 seats on the side and make them into 1 seat. And so actually a lot of the Rico videos have focused on that. There's one, you should go look at these, they're really funny, but there's one where he's just sitting there on his seat, he's in the middle aisle, or he's in the middle bank of seats. And there's a guy and a girl over by the window. and they don't know each other, but he walks up and he just assumes that they're lovers. So he walks up to them and he's like, I can smell love in the air and all this, and he kind of pushes them together, and then at first they're like, we're total strangers, and what are you doing? And then by the end of the video, they're kind of laying down, kind of cuddling. So there is subtle ways to integrate the message that you're trying to share. And again, the Hotels.com was an example of that too, where they're actually using this kind of viral style video to show, oh, we also have the fastest booking engine. So there are examples out there, but you're right. For the most part, it's just kind of initially trying to create the branding and create the name. And you're obviously paying a lot less through social media than you are by getting a spot on CNN or something like that.
Right, yeah. Thanks.
Any more question or comment before we break? Yes?
Make the comment that nowadays, in the old times, if you fly on an airline and you have a problem, you would send an email to their customer service, and hopefully you would get a response or some action, or they would give you some miles or something. Now, actually, what you see from this is it's more effective to just make a YouTube video or tweet something, and you're going to get, I don't know if you're going to get an actual response for the company to you, but you're going to get much more. Potentially much more impact.
Yep.
But is this something that the customers are doing more and more now? Rather than, how can you link really customer service with what they are producing, which is more like sometimes just negative press without any really real benefit. Like the guy from the guitar, I don't know if he got his guitar repaired, but certainly he damaged the image of United.
Well, it's a question that comes up a lot, and again, the thing with the social media is depending on how the airline responds to it, you can actually turn a negative into a positive. So the Delta thing, actually, the one I showed you with the Delta troops, that was a huge PR nightmare for them, and it ended up kind of having a positive image because it showed that they were immediately responsive, that they really cared. A lot of times, if you have a normal travel experience and you go to the airport check-in, everything's totally smooth, nothing happens, nothing abnormal happens, you're probably not going to say much about it. You're not going to say, oh, I had an amazing flight. Some people might, but the average person, that's kind of what we expected. But if I go in and actually something goes wrong with check-in, so they damage my bag or whatever happens, and then I see that someone actually cares enough to fix it as an individual right away, that actually may take something that bad that happened first in terms of execution and turn it into something that you can use as positive PR. One of the airlines a little tactic that one airline, EasyJet in Europe, does is they actually have they have a team that are responding to all their tweets, but every single one is actually signed by an individual person. So there's actually, you're not speaking to EasyJet, you're speaking to Rachel with EasyJet, or you're speaking to John with EasyJet. And the point is, people, when they're complaining to what they see as kind of a faceless thing, it's easy to just kind of throw stones and I hate United, they're terrible. But if United responds and, oh, well, I'm Karen and I've worked here for 2 years and I'm really sorry to hear about you. It's hard to then respond to that and be like, well, I hate you too, Karen, you know what I mean? So I think it's about really kind of creating an individual person behind the brand, or an individual team of people behind the brand. But it's definitely a valid question. And I think with that is, what I wonder sometimes is, you see some of these videos that got 10 million hits or whatever, how many other people created videos that nobody ever saw? So I mean, as far as creating a video, there has to be maybe something catchy about it with the song, or maybe something, I think with the Delta one, it was more just timely, because everybody wants to jump on any news that has to do with troops coming from Afghanistan and that sort of thing. So I think just one point I wanted to add to that, I know I'm getting long-winded, but we never suggest that every airline has to be involved in every social media channel. So it's not about being everywhere. I mean, again, I think the big takeaway that I want you guys to have is it's about tying it to what one of your goals are, what your business goals, what you're trying to achieve. And if you try to be all things to all people in social media, but you don't staff it adequately. So if you decide, okay, we want to start handling customer service complaints. So if you did have a bag lost or you misconnected a flight because of delays, we want you to send these complaints or notify us via Twitter. You better staff that adequately. You better have a team of people that can respond to these, because if you're creating that expectation and then you don't have the people to respond to it, you're going to actually dig yourself a deeper hole. So there's nothing wrong with just saying, we don't handle this through Twitter, please contact our customer service through this phone number or this email address. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just a matter of understanding that if you're going to create the expectation, you have to make sure you're fulfilling it.
Steve, thank you very much for having been with us this morning. Yeah, very interesting, very inspiring presentation, and really to show the power of social media. Thank you very much.
Just link to it online, and I think I may have a video that I can try to put up just if you guys want to share it with any of your colleagues or that sort of thing. So I'll make sure you guys all have my contact's there, but I also have business cards, so if you want to follow up anything I can send you, I'd be happy to.
Yes, anything we can put maybe on the USB key to give to our customers before they leave, that would be very appreciated. So thank you very much. I invite you also to go and see Steve during the break if you want to continue discussions on social media. Time to break for lunch now. Can I invite you to the same place where we had the welcome cocktail last night? For the ones who are not yet with us, that's the place where you had breakfast. So just down the hall, and we'll be having lunch outside on the terrace. And we will be resuming here at 1:30. So enjoy your evening.